Rachel Zegler just can't seem to catch a break these days. The internet is not my biggest fan. It never has been, but it especially isn't these days. I've made some stupid choices. After the whole Snow White disaster, her supposed comeback vehicle, an indie film called She Gets It From Me, is apparently already running into trouble. Talk about jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Although to several sources close to the production, filming isn't exactly smooth sailing. And Zegler's behavior is reportedly part of the problem. Behind all those polished press releases about a comedy drama with heart, crew members are whispering that the project might be spiraling out of control. And guess who's at the center of the storm? Yep, Rachel. Again, on the way out, it's becoming a pattern at this point. She signs on to a high-profile project, dominates headlines for all the wrong reasons, and then suddenly things start going south on set. What's happening now feels eerily familiar to those who followed the Snow White saga. Word is there are scheduling issues, production slowdowns, and behind-the-scenes tension that's causing major headaches for everyone involved. Some reports even suggest key scenes are being rearranged because of conflicts or last-minute changes related to Zegler's involvement, making certain aspects of production logistically complicated. Let's be real. After tanking Snow White with her smug press tour and those painfully tone-deaf interviews, you'd think she'd approach this new opportunity with at least an ounce of humility. But instead, she's back in the spotlight, acting like the rules don't apply to her. Reason we had Rachel Zegler on the docket is she's in. Now, the indie film that was supposed to help rebuild her reputation is showing early warning signs of falling apart. If these delays continue, it won't just be another bad look. It could potentially end her career for good this time. The irony is pretty hard to miss. Prince Rachel Zegler, who once stood on the brink of superstardom, now can't even headline a modest indie film without controversy, following her everywhere she goes. She Gets It From Me was pitched as a grounded, character-driven story. Exactly the kind of role you'd expect from an actress trying to prove her range and make a comeback. But her recent track record is making even this project feel more like a calculated PR stunt than genuine redemption. And fans definitely aren't buying it. Online forums and social media are flooded with skepticism. People aren't just doubting the film. They're actively rooting against it. And that's not because of the story itself, but because Zegler's name is plastered all over the poster. Why all the backlash? Because she burned almost every bridge with audiences during the Snow White rollout. Control. Rachel didn't even seem like she cared or liked the source material. I mean, that is just far from a graceful Disney princess-like promotion. It's far from what you would think Disney wanted. Instead of selling the magic, she mocked it. Instead of respecting the legacy of the character, she trashed the original film as outdated and irrelevant. Disney fans who grew up loving these fairy tales felt completely betrayed by her attitude. And let's not forget the political undertones. Her statements weren't just off-putting, they were downright antagonistic. She managed to alienate half the country in under 30 seconds with her now infamous Trump supporters will never know peace remark. That's not bold. That's just reckless for someone trying to promote a family film. So now she's pivoting to indie work. But just because the budget is smaller doesn't mean the scrutiny is. In fact, in some ways it's worse. Independent film crews don't have massive PR teams to clean up messes. If Zegler is being difficult behind the scenes again, those cracks are going to show up fast. And the public has proven they're more than willing to hold her accountable. At this point, no one's wondering if the film will be good. They're wondering how much longer the industry is going to pretend Rachel Zegler is worth all this trouble. The backlash to Zegler's involvement and She Gets It From Me isn't just online noise. It is having real-world consequences, reportedly creating serious headaches for the production itself. According to industry chatter, there's concern brewing among the film's crew. The whispers of tension are growing louder. From scheduling headaches to unexpected production delays, it's becoming harder to deny that something's off, and the common denominator once again appears to be Rachel Zegler. So, is it new behavior either? Ask anyone who followed the Snow White fiasco. That film didn't collapse just because of a bad script or uninspired visuals. It collapsed because its lead actress couldn't stop stepping on rakes. Whether it was mocking the original fairy tale, brushing off fan criticism, or making sweeping political statements during press junkets, Zegler consistently turned every PR opportunity into a potential disaster. And now it looks like those same self-destructive habits may be bleeding into this new project as well. What's especially frustrating is that the studio behind She Gets It From Me, Embankment, is relatively small. They don't have the cushion of a Disney-sized budget or a Marvel tier fan base. They were likely betting on this project as a charming, low-risk film with critical appeal. Instead, they've found themselves tied to an actress whose reputation is radioactive. Even before a single frame of the movie hits theaters, its potential is being swallowed up by Zegler's baggage and the growing online movement calling for a boycott of anything she touches. What should have been a low-drama, high-reward opportunity is already circling the drain. And the scary part for Embankment is that they might be realizing too late that they've cast someone whose public image is beyond repair. This time, the consequences won't be theoretical. They'll be visible, measurable, and painful. What's making this mess even harder to clean up is the fact that She Gets It From Me was supposed to be Zegler's fresh start. A smaller indie project, character-driven, paired with a respected co-star like Mari Kato. It was tailor-made to rehabilitate her shattered image. This was supposed to be the film where Zegler ditched the Disney disaster and proved she could carry a serious role without alienating everyone around her. Instead, it's already looking like another chapter in the same self-sabotaging saga. Multiple reports suggest there's tension not just behind the scenes, but even between the two leads. While To has always maintained a professional public persona, one can only imagine the patience it takes to share a set with someone as polarizing as Zegler. The contrast is glaring. To has spent years building a reputation for being talented, collaborative, and well-liked. Zegler, on the other hand, seems to attract conflict wherever she goes. Whether it's creative clashes on set, stubbornness, or interview sound bites that age like milk, drama follows her like a shadow. And let's not forget, this is all happening before the trailer even drops. Usually, indie films like this fly under the radar until festival buzz kicks in. But Zegler's presence guarantees attention for all the wrong reasons. Online forums are already dissecting every leaked set photo and casting update, looking for evidence of dysfunction. Some fans who once supported her have flipped entirely, saying they're done giving her second chances. Others never came back after the Snow White debacle. Yet, here she is again, potentially dragging down another film before it has a chance to breathe. If Zegler's goal was to reset her career, she's off to a terrible start. This was supposed to be her moment of redemption. Instead, it's looking like more of the same. More chaos, more backlash, and more damage to clean up. At the center of all this is a question that just won't go away. Why does Rachel Zegler keep getting roles? For someone with a growing list of underwhelming performances and an even longer list of PR disasters, her staying power in Hollywood is baffling to a lot of people, especially when you consider the consequences her involvement had on Snow White. That movie wasn't just a commercial failure. It was a cultural embarrassment. And much of that shame was self-inflicted, led by Zegler's complete mishandling of the press, the fans, and even the legacy of the story she was supposed to honor now. As She Gets It From Me inches closer to release, you'd think she'd be walking on eggshells, careful not to repeat the same mistakes. But once again, she seems oblivious to the optics. Production insiders are already whispering about repeated delays, reworked scenes, and disagreements over tone. The official story, of course, is that everything is progressing as planned. But when a pattern starts forming, Zegler signs on. Project goes sideways. It's hard to believe that's just coincidence. Even her defenders are finding it hard to spin the narrative. They argue that she's young, still learning, deserving of grace. But how many chances can one person burn through before studios start seeing her as a liability rather than an asset? Talent can open doors, but at some point, accountability keeps them open. And right now, Zegler seems determined to test just how many doors Hollywood is willing to keep unlocking for her. This isn't about one film anymore. It's about the ripple effect. Every new controversy chips away at the goodwill the industry once had for her. And with every project she touches turning into a headline-generating circus, that well of goodwill is running dry fast. It's not just insiders feeling the burn. It's the audience, too. Fans, former fans, and even casual moviegoers are starting to clock the pattern. A Rachel Zegler project drops. Then the drama follows. Then the delays, then the awkward interviews, then like clockwork, the social media storm. And now, even before She Gets It From Me hits production, some corners of the internet are already predicting disaster. They're not even asking if things will go wrong anymore. They're just waiting for the moment Zegler goes viral again. And not in a good way. People haven't forgotten how she laughed off Snow White's classic romance, or how she insulted the original story while promoting its reboot, or how she spoke down to audiences like they were somehow beneath her ultra-modern, ultra-empowered version of fairy tale storytelling. What Zegler doesn't seem to grasp is this. People don't like being lectured by someone who hasn't earned their trust, especially when that someone is starring in remakes of the very classics they grew up loving. It comes off as smug. It comes off as ungrateful. And worst of all, it alienates the very fans she's supposed to win over. Now, with She Gets It From Me, she's supposedly playing the daughter of a chaotic, rebellious ex-punk rocker mom. Is a smaller, edgier indie project that in theory could have helped Zegler reset a clean slate, a chance to show depth and vulnerability. But the vibes around the set are already tense, the press coverage already skeptical, and the online conversation brutal. People are circling this film like vultures, just waiting to see if it crumbles under the same pressure Snow White did. And if it does, Zegler won't just be blamed for ruining a fairy tale. She'll be the one dragging down an entire production again. The worst part is that Zegler doesn't seem to be adjusting. If anything, she's doubling down. There's a difference between having confidence and being delusional. And right now, she's walking that line with a blindfold on. After Snow White tanked harder than anyone expected, most stars would have gone quiet, regrouped, maybe even issued a heartfelt acknowledgement of how things unfolded. But Zegler, she's booking roles, posting with smug energy, and jumping right into the next spotlight without ever taking a moment to reflect. That kind of attitude doesn't read as resilience. It reads as arrogance. Let's be real. Snow White wasn't just a flop. It was a warning shot. A big-budget disaster that exposed the consequences of pairing a controversial lead with a film people actually cared about. Disney spent nearly $270 million. And the movie is still reportedly $96 million in the red. And while yes, there were many issues behind the scenes, Zegler's own behavior did more damage than most actors could dream of. Her interviews weren't just awkward, they were alienating. Her jabs at traditional values didn't come off as revolutionary, they came off as dismissive, and audiences responded by doing the one thing studios fear most, staying home. Now, with She Gets It From Me in motion, some insiders are saying Zegler's already starting to wear thin on set. Not dramatic blow-ups, at least not yet, but a general tension that makes people uneasy. And once again, the whispers of disorganization, delays, and ego are back. Except this time, she doesn't have Disney's massive PR machine to shield her. This is an indie project. Smaller budget, less padding. If she causes a scene, it's going to be felt by everyone, from the director to the crew to the investors. This is her so-called comeback, but from the outside, it's starting to look like the same Zegler circus just in a different tent. What makes this situation even messier is how disconnected Zegler seems from the very industry that once propped her up. Hollywood loves a comeback, sure, but it also has a short fuse when that comeback comes with more drama than talent. And right now, there's a growing sense that studios are watching her next moves very carefully, and not in a good way. This isn't about giving someone a second chance. It's about taking a gamble on someone who's already lost the house once and still acts like the dealer owes her a favor. It's not just the fans who are skeptical. It's the crew, the producers, and even the press. Media coverage around She Gets It From Me isn't buzzing with excitement. It's cautious. You can feel it in the language. Phrases like tentative support, and proven post-Snow White and risk-adjacent casting. Translation: no one wants to fully commit to calling this a comeback because deep down everyone knows how fast this could spiral if Zegler decides to open her mouth and launch into another viral mess disguised as a press quote. And let's not ignore how tone-deaf it all feels at a time when the public is still dissecting what went wrong with Snow White. Zegler jumping headfirst into another high-profile role.